Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa
So the last time what we were discussing about was the different KPIs, the different key performance indicators that are relevant, that are important for a teacher to become an effective teacher. We were discussing the parameters of evaluation, KPIs, and we'll continue with that process today, inshallah. So last time we had talked about confidence and how important confidence is, how important composure is. Composure and confidence is a critically important aspect of uh, being an effective teacher. The question is that how can a teacher develop confidence and composure in her classroom? What is the key? The key to developing composure and confidence is preparation, is lesson planning, planning your lesson well. Those teachers who plan their lesson well, right, who organize their lesson well, who give a thought about their lesson before entering the classroom, are the ones who are confident, are the ones who are composed. Why? Because if you're unprepared, what happens is that you don't know what to do. You're unsure of what to do, right? You are fidgety, you fidget around because you are not composed, because you don't know what question to pose, what activity to conduct, what explanation to give, what kind of questions to ask, what story to tell, because you're not prepared. You didn't give a thought about it. So naturally, what you will end up being is fidgety in your classroom, unsure about yourself. You'll end up wasting your own time. You'll end up wasting the students' time as well, right? And as they say in Urdu, tamak to hi marna. Idhar udhar ki baatein karna. That's what you'll end up doing. Because you don't know what you want to achieve. There is no clear path. There is no roadmap set. And that's something that is a dangerous thing to do for a teacher. So it's very important to be prepared. So this is one thing that has to be noted when we evaluate the teachers, whether they are confident and composed in their classrooms, whether they know their stuff well, whether they are prepared well. As Maulana Sulaiman Nadwi Rahmatullah alayhi had said, that to read 500 pages, to write 5 pages, you must read 500 pages. To write 5 pages, you must read 500 pages. Obviously, there is not a fixed thing, but there's an indicative thing that to write something 5 pages, you've got to read 500 pages. That's the kind of requirement, preparation that is required. There's a kind of preparation that is required. I remember another statement by Maulana Manzoor Nomani Rahmatullah. He said that prepare for at least 60 hours for a talk of 1 hour. 60 hours for a talk of 1 hour. Meaning if you have a half an hour period, you have to prepare for 30 hours. I don't expect that. I don't expect teachers to do that. That would be way too much for them to digest. But it is, these statements are indicative of the fact that how much preparation needs to go in before we deliver any talk, before we speak about something, before we discuss about something in our classrooms, right? How much preparation is required? I am not saying that you, for every half an hour period, prepare for 30 hours. That would be way too much for teachers, but at least give some time, right? It is natural, right, that you have to give some time to prepare. So this is something that has to be kept into mind by teachers. Preparation is critically important. Another important thing is reflective teaching. Now, what is reflective teaching? What is the meaning of reflection? What is the meaning of the word reflection? Can anybody help me in the chat box? What is the meaning of the word reflection? There are more than 50 people. What is the meaning of the word reflection? Getting back, interesting, very good, correct. Getting back, experience and analysis, interesting, very good. Experience and analysis. What we do will get back. Mirroring, very good. These are all correct. Correct. Ups, very good. So what we are looking at here is that mirroring what we have done, getting back with regards to what we have done, analyzing what we have done, thinking about what we have done, reflecting on what we have done. Now, these are issues that are critical for the development of a teacher, for the growth of a teacher. You see, whenever there is in the corporate world, there is a system that is used. They call it a PDCA cycle: plan, do, check, and act. Meaning, plan for something, do something, means put it into practice, implement it, then check what we have done. Check on what you have done with regards to its effectivity. How effective was it? What were the problems? What were the challenges? What were the obstacles? What were the mistakes? And then again act after redoing your plan, after reorganizing your plan, after correcting your plan, after enhancing your plan, improving your plan, whatever word you may use. So reflective teaching happens when a teacher plans a lesson, when you plan something, when you implement it, and you see, you analyze for yourself what went well, what was effective, and what was not so effective, what didn't go so well, what could have been improved upon, what could have been changed. This is reflective teaching. Reflecting on our own teaching, reflecting on our own process, analyzing on our own process, analyzing, reflecting the process that we implemented. Right now, reflective teaching can only be done by a teacher who actually develops a lesson plan. Naturally, if you don't have a plan, what will you reflect upon? There is nothing to reflect on if you don't have a plan in place. So only if you have a plan in place, if you have a roadmap in place, you'll be able to reflect on how that roadmap, how that plan went in the classroom, how did it work in the classroom, right? So reflective teaching is an important component of teaching. How the teacher has performed in the classroom, the teacher herself evaluates her own performance. Right? This is an important aspect. So when an evaluator, when the one who is in charge, who comes and checks, she has to see whether the teacher is improving or not. She has to see whether the teacher is reflecting on her own thinking or not, on her own performance or not. Right? That improvement has to take place. That enhancement in performance has to take place. Right? This is what is reflective teaching. So every teacher must be a reflective teacher. Right? This is important. And when you do reflective teaching, you naturally do action research. What is reflective teaching? Nothing but action research. When you're planning, right, identifying and organizing what you're supposed to do, then you're acting on what your plan is, right? Trialing and putting it into action, and then you're observing, analyzing, observing, right? And then you're reflecting upon what you did well and what you could improve upon. You're evaluating and then revisiting the plan, and then further again, after replanning or improving your plan, implementing the plan again. This cycle of action research is nothing but reflective thinking, is nothing but reflective teaching, right? So this is important. Reflective teaching and action research is an important component of your professional career as teachers. Another important thing is managing emotions. This is of critical importance, managing emotions, because you're dealing with human beings. You're not dealing with robots, and you yourself are not a robot. You're not an artificial intelligence program, What are you? You are a human being. Dealing with whom? Human beings. So emotions are an important part of the teaching and learning process. And managing those emotions effectively is critically important. We should not get overtly angry. We should not get disturbed, right? There would be things in the classroom that might disturb us. There would be occurrences in the classroom that might be awkward, that might fluster us. But we have got to keep our calm. We have to keep our composure. Managing of emotions thus is critically important. We cannot get out of our hand. We cannot get angry at the drop of a hat. We cannot get frustrated, right? Managing our emotions, displaying utmost patience. This is critically important. Patience is very important, right? Because in the classroom, you will find all kinds of students and all kinds of situations might erupt in the classroom. We cannot afford to get flustered. We need to be patient. Patience is an important aspect of an effective teacher. This is something that we must remember. We cannot get so angry that we start name calling, right? We cannot afford to give labels to students, right? We cannot do that. That is something that is not acceptable, right? If we call, जैसे कि in Urdu they say, आप तो नवाब है, आप तो हमेशा ही लेट आते हो, right? Don't give them such labels. Why? Because if you call them that आप तो नवाब है, then he'll end up always coming late, right? Or if you give the label that you can't do this, it is not your cup of tea. Don't label students negatively. That positive labeling is all right. It is in fact encouraged. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do a lot of positive labeling, right? But negative labeling is absolutely not acceptable in the classroom, right? Another thing that is not acceptable in the modern classroom is positive discipline, is corporal punishment. Corporal punishment is an absolute anathema, is something that cannot be accepted at all. Instead, we must adopt positive discipline methods. Now, what is the difference between negative discipline methods or corporal punishment and positive discipline methods? Say, for an example, in the classroom, if you're telling the student to stand up on the bench with their hands raised, what are you going to achieve out of it? Or if you tell the class student to stand outside the classroom, what are you going to achieve out of it? If the student stand outside the classroom, he will miss the class. He will miss the teaching that is happening in the class, right? And if he's standing outside, he might develop a habit of creating more ruckus outside in the corridor, right? And he might be, in fact, enjoying himself outside there. So you're not really achieving anything constructive. Rather, utilize positive discipline measures. What are those? Maybe you can tell him to write a story. Maybe you can tell that student to write an essay. Maybe you can tell the student to write tables, the multiplication tables. Maybe you can tell the student to write down a particular paragraph or a page of the textbook, right? Maybe you can tell the student to solve some problem sums in the mathematics, whatever. Again, repeat, solve. Maybe you can tell the student to come ahead in front of the class and explain a particular portion of the chapter, right, which you have already done, maybe, right? So these are things that will lend a sense of punishment, which will give a sense of punishment to the students, that the student will be pressurized to write something, to write the story, to write the essay, to write the tables or whatever, or to explain something in front of the classroom, whatever it be. So he will feel a sense of punishment, as well as that activity of punishment will be useful, will be constructive, will be meaningful, right? This is important. This is critically important. Why? Because if you don't indulge in positive punishments and you rather indulge in negative punishments, you create a negative image in the mind of the student, right? And that punishment, that negative punishment, is of no use. So it's important to use positive discipline measures. So whether the teacher is using positive discipline measures or not is something that has to be evaluated in the classroom as well. Another important thing that has to be looked into with regards to effective classroom practices is developing classroom rules and developing classroom routines. This is very important, developing classroom rules. Actually, you can develop classroom rules by getting the class, getting your students involved. That, okay, if you do this, if you are going to create a ruckus in the classroom, we will not do a particular activity, right? Say, or if you are doing a particular action in the classroom which is troublesome for the teacher, then this is the particular action that the teacher will take, right? That action could be withholding an activity that the students might enjoy. That action could be giving some extra work to do for the students, right? Whatever the rule you might set, right? But those rules should be set. You have got to say, for example, the classroom routines could include, you have got to raise your hands, right? You cannot speak out of turn, right? Keep your hands to yourself. Do not disturb other students, right? Do not stand up unnecessarily, or do not roam around the class. Whatever classroom rules you want to set, right? Those routines should be set. Say, for an example, if a science teacher or a maths teacher comes to the classroom, and the previous class was that of drawing, of art, right? If the teacher sets these routines in the classroom, I'll count till 5. Because in the drawing class, your palette, your brushes, your paint, your drawing papers and everything would be there on the desk. That is what happens in a drawing class. So the next teacher, if she has already set her routines in place, she'll start counting till 5. I count till 5, and all your drawing material should go in your bags, and your mathematics textbook and notebook should be on your desk and open to page number 59, whatever, say for an example, page number 59, and I'll count till 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What happens? All the students are in a hurry. You can obviously count a little slowly. All the students get into a hurry to pack up their drawing material and put it in the bag. Why? Because they are in competition with that number 5 that you have set. I'll count till 5. So when you set such routines, then students tend to follow those routines. Students tend to follow what you are saying. You can say, let all the students sit in smart position immediately. And everyone who is disturbed in the classroom will get into the smart position. Smart position could be a sitting straight and paying attention right in front. So these are small tricks and techniques and routines that you can set in your classrooms that help you manage the classroom effectively, right? So whether the teacher has these rules in place, sets these routines in place or not in the classroom, is also one of the important indicators of how she manages the classroom effectively. Now, another important thing that the teacher needs to be cognizant of is our teaching moment. Because tarbiyah, the process of tarbiyah, is not something that happens in a scheduled manner, right? Tarbiyah doesn't happen in a scheduled manner. Anytime a situation might prop up in the classroom wherein it is a teaching moment for the teacher, wherein the teacher can do tarbiyah of the students, right? Because I believe, as I always say, that it's not just the ulama in the school who are value education teachers. Every teacher is a value education teacher, whether it be a history teacher, a geography teacher, a science teacher, a mathematics teacher. All teachers are value education teachers, right? So teaching moments can erupt anytime in any situation. And the teacher should be cognizant of these teaching moments. The teacher should be aware of these teaching moments. The teacher should utilize these teaching moments, right? This is important, right? This is critically important. Why? Say, for an example, if a student is fighting with another student, One student is fighting with another student to sit in a particular place, right? Right, that I want to sit here. Another student is fighting, I want to sit here. I'm giving you one small example, right? Now, this is a teaching moment, right? You can't say, the geography teacher can't say, now this is a value problem. It's a value education problem. So your Maulana who will come in the next period, the ulama, the alim sahab, he will come and solve the problem. No, obviously the teacher cannot do that. The teacher has to solve the problem right then and there. It's a teaching moment. It is a moment where the teacher can do tarbiyah, right? So maybe the teacher can narrate a story. Maybe the teacher can narrate an anecdote in a beautiful manner, in a very expressive manner, right? So as to inspire the students to share rather than fight over something. Instead of fighting, sharing that something, right? This is something that the teacher can do. Say, for an example, in such a situation where the two students are fighting over one particular seat, for an example, the teacher can narrate the incident, the waqia of the Sahaba Karam, the three Sahaba who were very much injured and on the verge of dying in the Battle of Yarmouk, right? In the Battle of Yarmouk, that incident had happened. But to narrate these incidences, these waqiyat, the teacher herself should have that information. The teacher herself should have that knowledge. So reading is important for the teacher. Listening and reading and gaining knowledge and information is important, right, for the teacher, so that she can, when the such circumstances evolve in the classroom and the opportune moment, she can narrate such stories, and she can narrate these stories to inspire the students, right? This is important, right? So gaining knowledge for the teacher is important as a part of the process of doing tarbiyah of the students, right? There could be many things. A student could be poking a pencil in front of on the backside of another student, right? Student could be pushing another student. It could be anything that can happen in the classroom. And these are moments of tarbiyah. These are called as teaching moments, which the teachers should utilize, right? Say that example that I was talking about, the Battle of Yarmouk. If the teacher, in a very nice manner, if she narrates the story in an expressive manner, right, she can inspire the students to share. Like what had happened in that battle was that three Sahaba were injured, and a brother of a Sahabi brought some water to drink. And this Sahabi was injured, but he was on the verge of dying. But he said that I can see another brother of mine. He was not a real brother, but a brother in Islam. I can see another brother of mine who is also very much injured, in need of water. Please give him the water. So this man goes and offers him the second person. He offers the second person water. And then the second person is also injured. And he sees the third person who is injured and who is on the verge of death. And he says that I need water, but I see my brother also in need. He probably needs more than me, right? So he tells him to go and give him water. And then what happens when the person with a pail of water, with a glass of water, comes to the third person dies. The third person dies. And after that, this person takes the water to the second person. By the time he comes to the second person also dies. Now, when he comes to the first person, by the time he comes to the first person also dies. Now, I have narrated it very quickly because of limitation of time. In the classroom, you've got to narrate this story in a melodramatic manner, in a very expressive manner, right? So that it sinks in, right? Depending upon the age group of the students. If the age group is second, third standard, you're going to narrate the same story in a more dramatic manner. When the age group is 14, 15 years old, right, then your melodrama will obviously be much lesser, but you will still narrate the story in an effective manner. So depending upon the age group, you've got to change your style, alter your style. But these stories, if narrated in an effective manner, create an indelible impact on the hearts of the students, right? And then you can ask the students, now, who among you are like the Sahaba, who want to share what they have or what they possess. They want to give to others, right? As the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that a mu'min is the one who desires for his brother what he desires for himself, right? Narrate these kind of ahadith, relevant ahadith on relevant occasions, right? These are teaching moments that have to be tapped. Tarbiyah is not that you open a book of diniyat, Alim Saab opens a book of diniyat, the diniyat teacher, and he reads out sentences in that diniyat book. That's not tarbiyah. That happens, that has to be done. You will obviously have a diniyat curriculum in your school which has to be taught. That is natural. But the real training that happens with regards to tarbiyah is something that happens when teaching moments come up in the classroom, when circumstances evolve, wherein the teacher has to give in relevant interventions with regards to tarbiyah. And this is the real moments of tarbiyah. You look at the nuzul of the Quran. The Quran was revealed over a period of 23 years. The Quran could have come down as a book. Allah could have sent down as a book, but He didn't. The verses used to get revealed as and when circumstances used to evolve in the lives of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and in the lives of the Sahaba Kiram. As the circumstances used to get evolved, the verses, the ayats used to come down, right? Used to get revealed. Why? Right at the circumstance, right at the particular situation, right guidance comes in. That is the best form of tarbiyah. That is the best form of developing people. That is the best form, method, approach of transforming people, right? So these teaching moments have to be utilized perfectly. The teachers should be on the lookout for such teaching moments. And when these teaching moments are catered to, effective tarbiyah gets implemented in the classroom. We'll continue with this process next week, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khair. Wa akhiru dawana. And alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Jazakallah, Janab Ghufraan Sahib. More than 60 teachers have listened to your talk and much benefited by it. Many good advices are there for teachers, not to be angry in the class, not to be angry with the students, not to be impatient in the classroom, not to be frustrated by the students' unwanted acts, and not to label the negative label the students. And most importantly, you have talked about corporal punishment. It should be a constructive punishment. So many important things you have told to our teachers. All the things have to be implemented, and the class will be the best. And we have to see the response also. If any prize is to be given for number of teachers attending this program from one school, then the first prize would have gone to KH group of schools. So more than 20 teachers are attending these programs regularly, and followed by Habibia School. More than 10 teachers are here and listening continuously because of the usefulness of these programs. And we are having the program is added by the weightage of the presence of Vice Principal of Fatima School. Shalika Bano, Miss is here, and Safa Matriculation School Principal is always there. And so all these things shows that, and in a new school, Anekar Oriental School, one representative is here, and we hope more will join in future also. So slowly the teachers are realizing the importance of your talks. The first talk by the Islamic scholars and the second talk by the academicians. So hope all the teachers will use these things. May Allah give them the right way to do the things in the right way. With this, we are coming to an end. Today, we are having a hands-on science experiments. That is, we are having a class in which simple experiments will be told how to teach the students using simple experiments, using simple things. So this program is from 2 to 5. all can join. Already we have sent flyers to the schools. Online is also available for Chennai teachers. Offline is there. 2 to 5 they can join. And as usual, tomorrow morning, Sunday, Tamil session we will be having. With this, we are going to end this program. Subhanallah bihamdi, subhanakallahumma bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka